Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I appreciate you stopping by our little spot to hang out with us today. If you like the music on this channel, go to our YouTube music channel at DRIZZLER Works Music, or just click on the link in this video. There we have calming and steady music to chill out to or for your next grind. Your support helps us reach good people like yourself. So with that said, have you ever had that strange skin-crawling feeling? That sense that someone is staring at you, even when you can't see them? Maybe you're walking alone on the street at night, or working quietly in a library, and suddenly your body tells you something's off. Your shoulders tighten, your heartbeat picks up, and you're almost certain you're being watched. But how reliable is this feeling? Is it just an illusion, or is there real science behind our sense of being observed? Let's dive deep today into the fascinating mix of neuroscience, psychology, and evolution that explains why we sometimes do feel eyes on us. At first glance, the sensation seems mysterious. We don't have eyes in the back of our heads, and yet countless people describe moments when they just knew. Part of this comes down to our brain as a prediction machine. It constantly scans the environment, making rapid guesses about what might happen next. When it notices tiny clues, like a shift in sound, a movement in peripheral vision, or changes in body posture nearby, it compiles those signals into a gut feeling. Often that translates into what we interpret as being watched. This isn't just a random thought, it's a sophisticated, rapid-fire assessment of potential threats or social interactions, all happening below the level of conscious awareness. Our brains are constantly running a complex algorithm, weighing probabilities and generating hypotheses about the world around us. But why would evolution wire us this way? Imagine living thousands of years ago. Before cities, before locked doors, humans survived in groups, but also faced threats from predators and other tribes. Being able to detect subtle signs of danger, like the feeling of eyes tracking you from the dark, was a crucial survival skill. Those who were hypersensitive to threat cues had a slightly better chance of surviving, passing this trait down. Over generations, this created what scientists call a hyper-vigilance bias. In other words, our brains are tilted to err on the side of caution. Better to falsely sense eyes on you than to ignore a genuine stalker waiting for the right moment. This ancient alarm system, honed over millennia, is still active in our modern brains, even when the threats are no longer saber-toothed tigers, but rather a stranger on a bus. There's also the role of the superior colliculus, a region in your midbrain. This structure is deeply involved in processing spatial awareness and eye gaze direction. Experiments show that humans are remarkably quick to notice when someone else's eyes shift, sometimes in just a few milliseconds. Even slight head turns or micro movements register in our peripheral vision, triggering subconscious alerts. That's why you may quickly glance up when you feel someone is looking, even if you never saw them directly. This rapid processing of gaze direction is a fundamental part of our social cognition, allowing us to quickly assess intent and attention from others. But here's the catch. The sensation of being stared at isn't always accurate. Studies demonstrate a long history of false positives. In controlled experiments, participants often report feeling watched when nobody is looking at them. Psychologists suggest that this reveals more about how our brains handle uncertainty than about actual telepathic awareness. In other words, much of this feeling comes from pattern recognition gone too far. Our brains constantly seek meaning, connecting dots even when there's nothing there. This can create illusions, especially when we're tired, anxious, or in environments that prime us to expect threat, like a dark alley or an empty building. The brain, in its effort to protect us, sometimes overinterprets ambiguous signals, leading to a false sense of being observed. Another fascinating aspect, our mirror neurons, the brain cells that activate both when we perform an action and when we see someone else perform it. These may contribute to our hyper-attunement to other people's gazes. When you notice someone looking at you, your mirror neurons might trigger an internal simulation, almost as if you instinctively place yourself in their mind. This simulation heightens self-awareness, producing that uneasy sensation of exposure. It's a form of empathy, allowing us to feel what it's like to be the object of someone else's attention, even if that attention is imagined. Now let's bring in a bit of psychology. The spotlight effect. This is a cognitive bias where people overestimate how much others notice them. Have you ever felt like everyone in a room was watching you after you tripped or spilled something? That's the spotlight effect. It exaggerates how observed we feel, shaping part of the watch sensation. Our brains often magnify embarrassment or social anxiety, flooding us with signals that make us feel scrutinized. This bias is a powerful driver of self-consciousness and can make us feel far more visible than we actually are. Interestingly, research on paranoia also touches this topic. In mild forms, paranoia involves persistent feelings of being watched or talked about. This is common in social anxiety, but in extreme cases, it can be a symptom of psychiatric conditions. This suggests that while the watch feeling is natural, context determines whether it's helpful intuition or a distorted thought pattern. Understanding this spectrum helps us differentiate between a normal human experience and something that might require professional attention. Pop culture has amplified this sensation too. Horror films use a classic trick, the camera watching from the shadows, to play on our deep-seated fear of surveillance. Even modern technology taps into this. Many people feel uneasy about security cameras or the thought that their phones and social media apps are tracking them. Whether real or imagined, the very idea of unseen eyes keeps our brains on edge. The constant stream of information and the pervasive nature of digital tracking can exacerbate our innate tendency to feel observed, blurring the lines between genuine surveillance and our evolved psychological biases. But here's the important takeaway. Our sixth sense about being watched is not magical. It's a combination of heightened survival instincts, quick subconscious processing, environmental cues, and mental biases. Sometimes it's accurate, like noticing subtle movements in your peripheral vision. Other times it's a false alarm, a byproduct of evolution's better safe than sorry design. It's a testament to the incredible complexity of the human brain, constantly working to keep us safe and navigate our social world. So should you trust that feeling? The answer is nuanced. If you frequently feel watched in safe environments, it may just be your brain's natural hyper-vigilance or even anxiety speaking up. But if you're in unfamiliar or potentially risky situations, it's worth listening to that gut instinct because it's built from millions of years of survival refinement. It's about learning to differentiate between a genuine warning signal and a false alarm, a skill that improves with self-awareness and experience. Ultimately, the science tells us this. You don't have literal eyes in the back of your head, but you do have one of the most finely tuned detection systems in nature. Your body has learned to decode the smallest signs of social attention, threat, or focus. This invisible radar, while flawed, is part of what has kept humans alive for millennia. And that's why, if you ever feel the hairs rise on your neck, it's not just superstition, it's your biology reminding you it's always watching the world for you. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe. I have more videos, so feel free to watch them as well. I appreciate each and every one of you. God bless you. See you in the next video.